Hello, dear friends. The future is not set in stone, but it leaves signs that can be seen in advance. Opinion piece. Fog of war. Silent certainty. The Great Transition. It will start in Spain. The years of collapse. We are between here and there. Let's start. The fog of war describes the uncertainty and confusion inherent to any operation, where the battlefield is shrouded in fog, dust or smoke, preventing a clear view of the terrain or even one's own forces. But Cryon claims that this is aligned with the cosmic plan, and it's not a surprise, but rather the result of free will. He predicts that this war will not last long and will generate unexpected alliances, marking the end of a repetitive cycle of historical violence. In his view, the 26,000-year cycle of the Earth's wobble, known as the precession of the equinoxes, has culminated. This cycle, calculated by the Maya in 5 periods of 5,260 years each, presents an opportunity for a shift in humanity's consciousness. This shift began in 1994, with 2012 as its midpoint, but now the transition begins in 2026 with heightened energy until 2030. Therefore, he urges ancient souls to cultivate profound compassion, to shorten the conflict, visualizing peace, laughter, and future reconciliation in order to improve the planetary energy field. Patience is key, as changes in consciousness are gradual, like in biblical narratives, and 2026 brings solutions and the end of uncertainties. Spain. What Sylvia Brownie predicted for Spain has already begun. She said that the transformation of Europe would begin in Spain between 2026 and 30, and would then spread to the rest of Europe, calling these years of the Great Transition not only for Spain, but for civilization as we know it. She also said that the hardest years would be 25 and 26, calling them the years of collapse before rebirth. These would be the years in which the old would die resisting, and that the old's resistance to dying would cause the greatest suffering. She also spoke of technological advances that would transform energy and medicine. She spoke of a new way of understanding spirituality that would transcend organized religions. She spoke of a shift in collective consciousness that would ultimately be positive, though painful at first. According to her, Spain would be the first to see the other side, not because Spain is better or worse than other countries, but because the Iberian Peninsula would be the first place in Europe to fully undergo the process due to its geographical position and culture, its history of crisis and reinvention. Sylvia saw this capacity for transformation not as a weakness, but as its greatest strength. But the process of transformation is never pleasant when you observe it. It's only truly appreciated when you look back. Opinions. The pace is accelerating. You know you are watching a movie. You know politics is theater. The old world and the new one are growing farther apart every day. Every day we reflect the truth to those around us. Every day the journey continues toward a civilization built on truth instead of deception. The Great Awakening continues. Have faith. You already know this. When the Great Shift occurs, many changes will be instantaneous, but we will not immediately receive memories of past lives or knowledge of our higher self. There will be a feeling of calm and joy, but a period of adjustment will be necessary to assimilate what has happened. Those who read the Pleiadian revelation will be the ones who tell those around them that everything will be all right, according to Kavamur. According to the Isabella Tarot, we are very close to the division where the 3D world will collapse. There is a civilization that inhabits the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. Their leader is a wise woman, and the time will come for her to surface and share her knowledge. They say they will remove the moon. There are thousands of ships on the far side of the moon, and they are there for the final cleaning, waiting for the signal. Evil must not be allowed to exist. In the future, the polar ice caps will be much smaller and will be preserved as a reminder of the Earth's history and the suffering of its inhabitants. They will also serve as sanctuaries for the animals that thrive in such environments. Singularity. When you stop editing your soul and the right people start finding you, they don't tolerate you, they recognize you. They feel the same spark, the same curiosity, the same strange feeling that life is bigger and more mysterious than we have been told. So, don't hide what makes you different. The right people will love it, says Zachary Fisher. There is only one you in the entire cosmos. It is your individuality. You will have it in all dimensions. You can dance with many, mesh in groups, in love and sacred unions, grow and expand infinitely. However, you will never lose your individuality. You are an eternal and unique spark of all that is. We are between here and there, between what was and what wasn't, between what is and what isn't. According to Gillian Macbeth Luthan, we are immobilized in many different ways by interference, manipulation, life, and its tricks in general. We welcomed this year with enthusiasm, aware that it was a year of double fire, of movement, of strength, of motivation, and fidelity to our purpose. We cannot have expectations of our outer world until we cultivate our inner world. The frequency of spring is precisely that. It invites you to leap like a rabbit or a deer through what seems to block your path to the sacred mountain. Breaking news. The war against Iran marks 2 weeks. The US says Iran's new supreme leader is wounded. The US is offering a $10 million reward for Iran's new leader. Winning in Iran could cost Trump control of Congress. Iranian missiles damage 5 US tanker aircraft at the Saudi base. Iran's drone attacks on Amazon data centers signal a new cyber-physical war. Hezbollah launched 100 rockets at Israel, but the system intercepted only half. Pentagon investigation found the US responsible for the attack that struck an Iranian primary school on February 28th. Economy. 1/5 of the world's crude oil is at risk due to the mines in the Strait of Hormuz. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is paralyzing the global fertilizer trade, threatening spring planting and food prices. The Strait of Hormuz is closed, but the Strait of Stupidity is busier than ever, according to Mike Adams. The attack on Kar Island raises the risk of war, experts say. Brent crude oil is approaching $101. Can the global economy withstand oil at $150? Asia. Pakistan reports a drone attack on Islamabad. Pakistan bombs Kabul and attacks fuel depots in Afghanistan. Thailand declares its willingness to buy oil from Russia. Europe. The Iranian ambassador to the UN does not rule out attacks in Europe. NATO intercepts a third missile launched from Iran in Turkish airspace. Europe's largest economies want to accelerate the integration of capital markets. The US authorizes the purchase of Russian oil to contain rising prices. The EU criticizes the decision to ease sanctions on Russian oil. The West cannot do without Russia's energy resources, according to an expert. Russia compares the EU's stance on its oil to energy suicide. The EU faces an economic and diplomatic shock amid structural change. Qatar halts liquefied natural gas shipments to Europe amid the crisis. Qatar warns that war could trigger a global economic collapse. While the West proclaims itself the guardian of free speech, media suspensions, algorithmic control on social media, and the exclusion of dissenting voices suggest the consolidation of a sophisticated censorship, according to Samantha Arias. Spain. Diesel has skyrocketed by 26.5% and gasoline by 14.2%. Spain, a haven for luxury real estate investment in the midst of war. Americas. Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil call for a ceasefire in the Middle East. Cuba confirms initial dialogue with the US. Cuba admits contact and announces the release of 51 prisoners. Another shipment of humanitarian aid arrives in Cuba from Mexico. Delcy Rodriguez announces the start of Venezuelan gas exports to Colombia. The FBI will travel to Cuba to investigate the speedboat incident. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.